Hey, Gerald here. Time for another quick video update on the editor progress. See, I got my editor loaded up here, and I have my game, my mock-up game that I made. I got that loaded up here too, and you'll see why in a minute. Let's see. In this update, I want to talk about this section here that I added. I call it the goals or objective section. See, I was going to have the goal section originally under the EGI group, which is up here. But as you will see, the way I have done it is a lot more logical. Originally, I had the instructions section set up here, but I removed it because it made more sense to have the goals section here so that you can select objects to use as goals as you build your levels. It'll all make sense in a minute. Besides, I have another idea for the instructions sections that I'll implement later on. So, as you can see, there's quite a bit of options over in this section here. Some are probably obvious, while others obviously are going to need a little more explanation. You'll not likely use all these options when building your levels, and of course it will depend on what type of match 3 game that you are making. I tried to include all the different types of goals or objectives that I could think of for the different types of match 3 games that I know of. I also included 3 options down here called Special 1, Special 2, and Special 3. These will be used for any additional goals that I'm sure myself or someone else will think of to include later. These can be changed in the frame editor simply by changing the name and the properties of each item. So, for example, I'll just bring it up here. This is the Special 1, Special 2, and Special 3. All you need to do is change the name in here, and that will, let me bring my games back up here. That will update them in here, and it will help. Just one second here. Yeah, so you update the names and the properties of each item. Then you won't, just by doing that, that's all you'll have to do, and you won't have to worry about changing any of the code to update all the load codes. I know that doesn't make sense, but it'll all be explained with the documentation when I release this. Anyway, back to this. Let's start with the 3 most common types of goals. You see probably in most match 3 games. Those would be the objectives, or objects, points, and moves down here. Moves, these are pretty straightforward. You obviously set these to how many moves the player has in order to complete any other goals that you set. Points, up here, points. Again, pretty straightforward. You set this to a points level that perhaps a player must achieve to complete the level. You could also do points and objects as having 2 goals that the player has to complete. So objects, these are pretty straightforward too, but with the way I have set it up, you can choose which objects you want to set as goals while you're building the level. You can choose objects from 7 of the top groups up here. So you got GP, EGP, unders, overs, and so on. I'm just thinking out loud here. I'll give you a little example. So going to the GP group here. Now I choose, make sure I have the objects check mark checked, and to choose the goals that I want, I select how many goals I want to include. So I'm going to include 4 here. Now I click on goal 1. These have to be done in order of number. Like I have to do the first goal and then the second goal and then the third and fourth. I can't select these until obviously I select the first goal first. Okay, so while a goal is selected, that will be the one that will be updated every time you click on a selection, like so. If you want to continue to work on your level without changing any of the goals, then just turn the goals selection off with the turn off button up here, and that kind of disables that, so you can keep going here without affecting the goals that you've already set. To continue, like I just did, you turn it off. To continue, you just click on the goal again, or the next goal, to continue on setting the goals. Okay, so to select an object from a different group, you just pick the group, and let's see, I'll pick a blockers group here, and make sure the goal that you want to change is selected, and then simply click on the object that you want to set as a goal. It's just that easy. Now, hang on. Let's set all 4 goals here. I'll go back to the GP and set them up like that. Okay, so let's try that out, see if it worked in our mock-up game here. I'll save the level. Open up the game here. That was level 1 I was working on. So I'll select level 1. Obviously, in a real game, it won't look like it won't look like this. I wouldn't make it look like this. This is just to show you what's going on. So as you can see, the goals that I selected over here have been updated in my game, and the points that I set are updated here in the game, and the moves are updated in the game. So it's just that easy. If you want to change them, obviously I'm gonna have more than one of these that I want to collect, the player to collect. So I'll just put some random numbers in here. Click save. Restart this to update it, and you can see it updated here too. So anyway, that's kind of it for that. The idea was to be able to select the objects you want to use as goals as you're building the level. So it doesn't matter which group you're in here, it'll just update it automatically for you as you're building the level. That was the whole thing that I was striving for when I did this. The other cool thing is, let's go back to GP group here. Let's say you can select objects that are not active. For example, let's take this green diamond down here. Now this is not active, and it won't show up in the game as an object in the game. Like, it won't be one of these GPs over here because it's inactive right now. But I can select it as one of my goals, which is kind of neat. You know, for example, let's say you want the player to collect them from a special object, like one of the SBIs or something in the game, and that SBI will create these somehow, however you want to set it up. So that could be one of the things you have to collect. So you can add it in here, and obviously in your game it's not going to show up faded out like this. This is just as a reminder to you while you're building the level that, yeah, I got this goal here, but it's an inactive goal. That's pretty much it. The other options down here, like at timer 1, timer 2, you can use these for things like earning rewards for doing something in a certain amount of time, or perhaps it's a time-based level. Just a whole bunch of many different uses that you can use these timers for. And the special 1, 2, and 3 I already mentioned before. We can use those for things I haven't even thought of yet. And obviously there's nothing stopping you to include all these options into a game. You just have to use your creative imagination to do it. Well, I hope that all makes sense. Half asleep, so if I sound a little jumbled, that's why. Anyway, that's it pretty much for now. I'll talk to you again soon. Cheers.